Anger is shame's bodyguard. I heard this recently and it made me stop. Anger is shame's bodyguard. It made so much sense. This week, I put out a video on Monday regarding the topic of shame and the hips, the hip area of the body, which includes the pelvis and even the reproductive organs. And in the Eastern system, this would be the root chakra and the second chakra, those two areas. And the response was surprising. I got this video grew much faster than any other video I've ever put out. It truly went viral. In just 24 hours, it had already reached something like, I don't even really know. I can't remember. But here we are. I'm recording this on Friday, and it's already past 54,000 views. That's very fast for me, for my channel. I'm not at a point yet where I get that kind of, some channels get that traction in the first day. I'm not at that point. So this kind of growth is significant. I noticed something similar on my Substack last month when I was doing the series of articles on different parts of the body and how the different parts of the body hold different types of traumas. And on the same topic, which involved the psoas muscle, which is also what I talk about in this video, that article also did significantly better than most of the articles of that month. It seems that this is a topic that a lot of people are interested in. And what I wanted to talk about today, though, because I've already talked about shame and how it lies in the body and how I think it actually lies in many places of the body, but it seems to radiate from the hips. And the reason it has to do with the psoas muscle. It's a fascinating muscle to look into if you're interested in anatomy and somatic therapies. The psoas muscle gets essentially triggered every single time your boundary is crossed. Since I came across this information, I've actually become keenly aware of something that I've always noticed in my body, but I never understood why it was happening. And I didn't know if it was a universal thing or if it was just something my body did. But I've noticed that every time I watch a scary movie, or not a scary movie, a violent movie. Whenever I watch a violent movie and something really gruesome happens. And today, not to go off on a rant, but I really dislike most of the modern movies today because I feel like Hollywood just wants to literally traumatize you because they need to shock you in order to keep your attention. And so they pull out more and more gruesome scenes than at least on a mass scale. So anyway, whenever I see a really gruesome scene that disturbs me, I'll get this flash of sensation in the lower half of my torso, like the lowest part, the area that we're talking about here. And when I started learning about the psoas muscle and how it contracts every time a boundary is crossed, every time you feel threatened, I immediately understood what was happening, and I understood that it wasn't just me. And so when I'm talking about shame living in the hips, I'm talking about the psoas muscle contracting over and over again. And after feeling the same kind of threat or the same boundary being crossed over a series of many days, many weeks, many years, then obviously these muscles are going to start to remember this pattern. And in the video, I compare it to doing any kind of muscular work on purpose. So if you want to build strong abs, you do the same movements to that muscular area. And so eventually they learn to hold themselves in a tight position, even when you're not doing crunches. It's the same thing with traumatic experiences. The muscles contract and they start to hold that position, even when you're not having the traumatic experience. Well, what I wanted to focus on in this very brief voice note, I actually am I'm so busy this week with family stuff. We've got a college graduation in my family this week, and it's taking up so much of my time. So I want to go over this very briefly because I thought it was an interesting observation that I was making in my own experience. So I'm trying to get away from reading the comments of my YouTube channel. So if you have left a comment over there and I haven't responded, it's not personal. I would say 99% of the comments over there are so beautiful. And when I do read them and I try to scan through them, I just want to make sure that nobody's leaving any kind of, disgusting comments as people on YouTube can do. I'm trying to make sure that those comments don't stay. And so I'll do a brief scan, and most of the comments are so lovely. People are showing a lot of gratitude for that video and other videos that I put out. And it's really so beautiful to look at and read. But every now and then I will catch, an angry comment or a troll. It's just a troll. And I wanted to share an observation I made when I compared the troll comments in the shame video that I put out this week versus the other 2 viral videos I put out, which were on the topic of the throat and how trauma lives in the throat. And I give some exercises on how to release some of the chronic tension that builds up from these, like I said, repeated muscular patterns after having your boundaries crossed, but regarding the throat. So here's the interesting difference between the trolls. And I want to try to speculate as to why there is this difference. In the throat release videos, it brought out the perverts. And I knew it. I knew they were going to come out. Believe me, I'm not naive. I understand that when I start saying things like throat release and I do this audible sigh where I look very relaxed after taking an exhale, I'm not stupid. I know what the perverts are thinking. And of course, there's also the throat massage where we lift up the chin and we stroke the throat. I knew the perverts were going to come out, and I was prepared and ready to delete their comments. So if you've been over to those videos and you don't see any perverted comments, it's because I have made sure to read the comments and delete them because it's just inappropriate. And when you work in the field of body work, you are somebody who becomes comfortable with your body. It's an amazing side effect to going to massage school. That's why I say that massage school was one of the most healing experiences in my life. Spending a whole year learning about the muscular structures, anatomy, feeling comfortable with people touching my body and getting comfortable touching other bodies. A whole year of that, 5 days a week. It was the most healing experience of my 20s. It laid an incredible foundation for me to get to this point in my path. So I'm used to people having really immature attitudes about the body, especially in the realm of massage therapy and body work. And I just let it roll off my shoulders. It's not a big deal. And so that's why I was prepared for those types of comments when I made those videos. And I was ready to just delete them. No big deal. Now, I was curious to know if I got troll comments on the shame video. I was curious, and I did have a hypothesis, a loose hypothesis of which types of people would come into troll. See, shame is at the heart of the narcissistic personality, the abusive personality who abuses by rage and manipulation. There's also the borderline personality, which shares a lot of those qualities, where when their shame is triggered, it's a rage response. It's rage. And I was, to be honest with you, to be totally transparent, I was a little nervous putting this video out because The people in my life who have hurt me the most have been these types of ragers. When their shame is triggered, they rage and they lie, they gaslight, they manipulate. They try to turn their shame around onto you by calling you names or calling you ridiculous or stupid or ridiculing the thing that you're interested in talking about. And that is exactly what the trolls were like on this one. It was such a fascinating study in psychology to have a YouTube channel like this and to observe the trolls. And it's been good for me for my own healing process, because in the past, these types of comments would have had a very seriously negative effect on me. But thank goodness that I've done so much work that now I can just see them for who they are and just delete their comments. It's okay. I mean, when I say rage, I'm talking about profane language. I didn't see profanities on the throat release video. I saw perverted comments and perverted jokes, whereas the trolls on this video were seriously angered by what I put out, which I do find disturbing, but I only find it disturbing because of my own personal experiences, because I've been around so many people like this. And the only reason I find it disturbing is because they remind me of the people who I was intimately close to for a very, very long time. And knowing people like this on such an intimate level is very disturbing, because the majority of the comments, like I said, were so beautiful and self-aware and grateful and proactive. I could tell that the majority of the people who watched the video are on a proactive healing path. They're courageous in their ability to look at their shame. To look at one's shame is extremely difficult. And a lot of people, especially these types of ragey, angry, gaslighting, manipulative, abusive types, the idea of looking at their shame brings on more shame. It makes them feel even more shame. And shame is a very difficult experience to have. It is so incredibly uncomfortable. So, like I said, I have to make this voice note short. I would like to continue this conversation. I think it's essential on the healing path to look at your shame. This is definitely in the realm of what we would call shadow work. And if you have not searched the words shadow work and considered framing some of your healing path in that respect, I highly recommend it. I did shadow work for about 2 years, maybe even 3 years. It might have even been 3 before I launched The Healthy Voice. If it had not been for shadow work, I would not be able to do this, because without the shadow work that I did, those ugly comments would cripple me. Basically, what would have happened before I did shadow work, I would have seen the comments. I would have thought, oh, this is what everybody thinks. Oh my God. I would feel so ashamed to myself, and I would probably delete this video. And now, thank goodness that I've gone through this path. Now I can step back and go, okay, I feel that old wound being triggered when I see these ugly comments. I feel it. It's still there. It vibrates for a moment. But then, because of all of the work I did, all the knowledge I have now in my mind, I can now consciously say, that's a very, very small part of the population that's watching this video. The majority of the people are getting something positive from this, something helpful. And the gratitude is real. People are really being helped by this. Do not sacrifice this video for the sake of feeling some kind of relief from the shame trigger that these angry people are bringing up in you. The people who are benefiting from the video, they're making their voices heard. They're posting over 200 comments and responding to other people's comments, as well as going to all of my links. I mean, I see you guys who have bought the Voice Liberation Method. You've signed up for the community. You've signed up for coaching. And some of you have signed up for my free guide. A lot of that happened this week. A lot. And I know that it's because of this video. So I think the lesson I'm learning is that when you talk about healing shame or any kind of trauma brings up shame in people. The word trauma, that's why there's so many people who are so ugly towards, like their responses are so ugly when you even talk about trauma. You have people they roll their eyes and they're like, oh, everybody's traumatized. I get it. There are a lot of people who weaponize this new sensitivity to trauma. Those are the people you have to look out for. Those are the quietly manipulative types. They're not some of them are the ones who leave these comments, actually. Some of them, if you get your anger out by leaving a nasty comment on a YouTube page, it's really sad. It's sad. It means that you're still carrying so much, but you don't know where to go. These people deserve our pity and our compassion, but they don't deserve our attention. So if you have somebody like that in your life who, whenever you try to talk about what's going on with you in your healing path and they get weird and defensive and they say things in order to try and make you feel stupid, just know that it's 100% them. It's not you. And your job is to recognize that, have pity for them, but do not try to rescue them. Do not. You will only hold yourself back. All right, I have to get going here. Thank you for listening to me on this Saturday. That's when I will be posting this recording. And if you haven't had a chance to watch the video, go give it a watch. There's a voice practice at the end, which is intended for releasing any kind of trauma that's hanging around the lower half of your body. It's not necessarily just shame. It's just that, shame is a big part of this practice. So thank you for being here. Keep going, you guys. We're all going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. The world needs our unique voices.